Why is it that most of us find it so difficult to find our passion and live our dreams, even though there are thousands of self-help programs and therapists out there teaching us strategies for this very thing? Is it just that these programs aren't very good? No, I actually think most of them are very good, and I've personally learned invaluable lessons from every single self-help program that I've studied. But I've also noticed a couple of problems. The first problem is that most of them are designed to help you find your passion and live your dreams by asking you, what are you interested in? What do you like? What do you think about? What do you talk about? The idea being that if you combine your career, business, and making money interests with things that you actually love, then you're set. And there's a lot of truth to that. But first, you need to find the delicate intersection between your passion and helping people solve their problems so that they'll actually pay you money. And the problem with thinking about what interests you is that it's difficult to make the connection between your actual hobby or interests and what other people need. The first answers that come into people's mind when we ask them this question is, I like sorting my hockey cards. I like singing in my car. I like doing puzzles at my vacation home. And then their brain goes to, and who's going to pay me to do that? Well, nobody. And what we're missing here is the underlying theme that that hobby or activity actually expresses. You may not be just a hockey geek. You may actually crave order and be the kind of person who brings system to the company if you like sorting your hockey cards. If you like doing puzzles, it may not be because you love solving problems. It might be that you tell yourself stories in your head and you're a top-notch storyteller. You're really plugged into the radio station WIFM, What's in It for Me, and it's easy for you to hook people into your topic. Einstein loved nature and music, but not for the same reasons as most people. He had a special ability to identify common patterns across all phenomenon. You know, while other physicists studied light, gravity, space, and time separately, Einstein viewed them all as part of one grand pattern in the cosmos, and that's why he loved them. Now, the second problem with most self-help programs is that they try to help you get over your fear of actually pursuing a passion, assuming you have some ideas about what it is, using basic positive thinking techniques such as goal setting and visualizing, practicing the law of attraction, or the old-fashioned fake it till you make it, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway. But what they don't address is the emotional programming in your self-image, which is for most people what makes it difficult for them to make any real progress in transforming themselves. The truth is, most of us do not have the emotional programming we need to give us the strong, positive, and confident self-image that is so necessary for living our dreams. We're just not programmed to find the passion and then actually pursue it. So what do I mean when I talk about emotional programming in your self-image? Well, your self-image is the vision of yourself deep in your unconscious mind. It is the complete blueprint of the kind of person you consider yourself to be. Whether you consider yourself charming, business savvy, intelligent, capable, lovable, or self-disciplined, all depends on this self-image. And why is your self-image important when it comes to living your dreams? It's critically important because your self-image is made up of thousands of beliefs, things that you believe to be true. But we know from study after study in psychology and science that we don't believe what we see in this world. We see what we believe. When we think something is true about ourselves, we heavily emphasize any evidence we see that supports that belief, and then we dismiss evidence to the contrary, even if it means we'll lose or fail in the process. I first stumbled upon this concept as an athlete. As a kid, I was really fortunate to play on a powerhouse team that won all the time. But every now and again, we play an underdog team who come out like gangbusters and get a lead. 9 times out of 10, though, they'd find a way to make a mistake and lose the game in the end. You see, on paper, they weren't as good a team as we were, and they had been taught that the best team should usually win. So they felt compelled to make the score consistent with their beliefs, even if it meant losing. I saw this over and over again. Then I noticed that when young athletes suddenly had a growth spurt or a quantum leap in their skills, they rarely won right away, like right after this quantum leap of the skills, because they were relating to themselves out of an outdated self-image. They still saw themselves as behind their idols and related to themselves as younger and less talented than they actually were. When tennis phenomenon Monica Seles played Chris Evert, her idol, for the first time, this is exactly what she did. You know, she remembers Chris was just one of the greatest players in the history of the game, and I watched her from the time I was 7 years old on. Now, of course, Chrissy took the match against me in 2 sets, 6-2, 6-1. I was thrilled. She said I hadn't been shut out. My only goal was to not throw up from nervousness. But less than a year, Seles beat Chris Evert. And you and I both know that it had nothing to do with skills, but rather her learning to relate to herself as she is now, not as she was as a young, insecure tennis player. Now, this pattern of making our results consistent with our self-image doesn't exist just in sports. It's rampant and it's everywhere. You know, just recently I was working with a client, we'll call her Jane, and Jane said to me, people aren't interested in what I have to say. Now, this belief is actually another way of saying people don't experience me as a source of pleasure, which is also the same thing as saying people don't love me and I'm alone in the world. You know, without realizing it, Jane had slowly isolated herself at work and at home. She was playing it safe. She was staying quiet in meetings, not applying for higher level jobs, and avoiding going out even on dates. Of course, she was convinced that it was other people rejecting her, and many people delight in Jane's company, but she was very carefully and consistently editing out that information. She was just not letting it in. She had conveniently overlooked the evidence that people were often interested in her. And there are so many examples of this. The nerdy kid who thinks he's uncoordinated and he quits sports really young. The creative girl who says that numbers are too hard and avoids math class from a young age. The shy loner who believes he's destined to be alone and never asks any girls out for a date. The bottom line is, when we believe something to be true about ourselves, we bring all our actions, emotions, and decisions in line with this belief, in line with the self-image, even if it means sabotaging our success and our happiness. And this is why the self-image is the master operating system of the psyche. It's made up of thousands of beliefs about ourselves, and they govern it. Every emotion, every decision, every action, every behavior. Just as the unconscious mind controls our breathing, our beliefs in our self-image, within the self-image, control our success. It is the master system operating us in the background without us realizing it. We create our reality by adopting certain beliefs and conclusions and then filtering out any evidence to the contrary. And of course, once that belief is firmly in place, we reject any ideas that are inconsistent of it. And I believe we do this because one of the greatest needs in the human psyche is congruency, consistency, and our need to be right, especially about ourselves. And this is why most self-help programs are not that effective. They're very superficial from this perspective. The vast majority of them teach you strategies like I said, goal setting, positive thinking or optimism, and the law of attraction, which are all excellent strategies. But what they don't teach you is how to emotionally reprogram your self-image so you can use these strategies effectively. Once your self-image is in line with the goal and the passion, you can use these strategies very, very well. Have you tried to drive your car with a parking brake on? You know, you forget to take it off, you forget it was ever on in the first place, and you try to drive. It's a really strange feeling because you're trying to move forward and get where you need to go, but the car is fighting you completely. You're moving, but on some level, you know something is very, very wrong. You're straining, you're pushing down on the gas, and it just isn't working. And trying to take action on our goals, even really simple goals, is like resisting gravity when the self-image isn't aligned. When it comes to living our dreams, the car is you, the gas pedal represents your dream, and the parking brake represents all the self-limiting beliefs and fears that are encoded in that self-image, that are emotionally programmed into that self-image. We can press on the gas all we want, and we will make a little bit of progress. But again, if our self-image is programmed against this passion, against the dream, it's exhausting and it's confusing. Chances are You may already have a pretty good idea of what you're passionate about, but either you don't think you could get paid to do it, or actually doing it doesn't fit in with your self-image. And this is why I say that right now you may not be programmed to live your dreams. The good news is that you can absolutely reprogram yourself for finding your passion and living your dreams now. For today, however, what I want you to do is I want you to go below and I want you to write down your own struggles with both finding your passion and living your dreams. And the best post will win a free scholarship to my upcoming newly revised Live Your Dreams program. It's going to be open on September 14th, 2010. The free webinar will be on September 14th, 2010 at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Go ahead and post your comments below. Sign up for the webinar. There's going to be a lot of secret stuff revealed, live content that's absolutely free, and I'll talk to you again soon.